chiller can cool up to 500 liters of milk using only the thermal energy stored in the batteries.
Na jambo la maana ni kwamba wewe kama mkulima hutakuwa unapeleka maziwa asubuhi, jioni, utakuwa unapeleka maziwa safari moja kwa siku ama safari moja baada ya siku 3. Sasa unaona kwamba utakuwa umepata faida. Kwa sababu hii chiller, kwa sababu inatumia solar, itakuwa ina cut cost. Ile gharama ambayo ungelipa stima, hii utakuwa umenunua safari moja na umesahau story ya kufanya nini, ya kulipa stima kila mwezi.
If more of these solar-powered milk chilling machines are installed in most parts of the country, dairy trucks will not have to make daily rounds and no longer need to transport milk from a village collection center to a separate chilling center, saving farmers hundreds of shillings. The dairy plant can also extend their reach to more isolated villages with rapid milk chillers. Kenya experiences 365 days of sunlight every year, and with erratic power supply experience in most parts of the country, farmers like these ones have decided to embrace solar technology, like the milk cooling machine that you see behind me, that has helped these farmers minimize cost in their farms and improve efficiency. Philip Keitany for the Next Frontier.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Crime happens every day.
She was being strangled, but fortunately she never died.
They have never shown the slightest emotion.
Very troubled. Very unhappy.
There is something about crime that brings an entire nation together. What is it that turns a mother into a killer?
We are girls, we have mistakes, we should have been born boys.
What turns a father into a butcher?
Mkobera ameua watoto wake. Usiende huko mtu anatanganya watu akipeleka huko anakatakata watu anaua.
At what point does love turn into hate?
Sikia vibaya sana. Sisikii vizuri kabisa.
This is what I seek to find out.
I was armed with a siska. Kuitoa tu hivi, I had 2 gunshots.
Kaniambia wewe shut up. Hapa maombi yako ya mwisho.
I speak to those society has said must be locked away for some time.
Kwa nini ukawaua?
Hiyo anajua hiyo nafikirianga paka nakuta jipo hapo hakuna.
I seek to understand why those who decide if one has to die or walk to freedom do so.
You want to trust the justice system, but when you see how they're behaving, like there was nothing that they had done.
I let you see crime from those wronged to those who wronged them, to those such crimes have affected.
The wheel of justice in Kenya doesn't move.
Our criminal justice system has simply collapsed.
Crime happens every day, so does justice, but it's on case files where crime and justice meet.
I accept leadership of a national party.
Days for just one single party are gone.
Join us as we go beyond the political headlines and press briefings and delve deeper into the real issues of the 2017 general election. From the depths of the vote-rich Rift Valley and Central regions.
I'm giving him a political warning.
And the so-called swing counties in Nyanza and Western.
Mimi sina tamaa ya fisi.
Sitakuwa generali mwenye bunduki isiyo na risasi.
To the high-stakes coastal strip in Eastern Kenya.
Tutoke katika hii njia ya ufukara.
Kadamu ya zia ataende.
We analyze the numbers, the trends, and the political rhetoric.
Lazima mwenye fimbo ya Musa awe mmoja.
The gubernatorial races across the 47 counties and the governors facing big battles to retain their seats.
Definitely we are going to City Hall.
Na sasa kama Nairobi imebarikiwa hivyo.
Join us as we cover the issues surrounding the 2017 general election in the way only we can.
This is KTN News.
morning. It is a Sunday, the 23rd of October. Many thanks for joining us on the Weekend Express. My name is Michelle Ngele. Welcome to the program. Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi is accusing the government of undertaking economic diplomacies that are shrouded in mysteries by taking cronies to negotiate and sign agreements aimed at benefiting a few faceless individuals at the expense of taxpayers. On the much talked about opposition Super Alliance, Mudavadi says that the alliance will not only be limited to political parties, but civil societies, unions and even churches, as well as those who are determined to remove the Jubilee Party from power. Duncan Heinberg reports.
Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi was meeting teachers in Nairobi under the caucus Nairobi Mulembe Teachers Association when he tore into Jubilee administration, which he accused of continuing to entrench corruption in the country.
This economic diplomacy is shrouded in secrecy. When they went to Tokyo, which businessmen signed the MOUs? When they went to China, which businessmen signed MOUs? Where is the transparency?
Mudavadi is demanding that Parliament scrutinizes all economic treaties the government has been undertaking as a matter of urgency.
I think it is also time to make an amendment to some of these laws so that if there are people who are profiting from this economic diplomacy and signing off MOUs, can we know who they are?
He laments that at the moment, Kenya's dilemma is the rapid accumulation of commercial debts, which have pushed the public debt to shocking levels.
Which programs are being funded by commercial debt and which ones are being funded by concessionary debt? Treasury must come clean and define and make public what is concessionary debt.
On politics of the day, the ANC party leader confirmed his party has given him green light to form an alliance with other opposition leaders.
2013 kodi walienda njia yao wakaanguka. Wakirudia tena vile wanaenda namna hiyo watafanya nini? Wataanguka, si ndio? Tena Mudavadi alienda hivi akaanguka. Akirudia tena namna hiyo watafanya nini? Wakiungana pamoja watapata nini? Ushindi. Hiyo ndio tunasema National Super Alliance ni muhimu.
Use your influence to unite our people. But this time round, we are very serious in going to the top. Because politics is not politics if you also have no ambition to get to the top.
A national alliance can be an alliance that will also partner with the civil society, the churches, the teachers, business societies, who want to change the country for a positive cause.
Sentiments that were echoed by CORD co-principal Moses Wetangula.
17 mabadiliko inakuja na sisi wana CORD na wale wote ambao wanatujoin. Tunamkaribisha ndugu yangu Musalia, tunakaribisha Mama Karua, tunakaribisha Gideon Moi, tunakaribisha Ole Isaac Ruto na wengine wote. Na nyinyi wananchi msimame imara. CORD tuko tayari. CORD.
On Sunday, Mudavadi will be in his Western Kenya home turf as he begins assembling his troops in readiness for the new alliance to be made public soon. Duncan Hemba, KTN.
Elsewhere, Deputy President William Ruto has criticized the CORD leader Raila Odinga's proposal to the international community to fund opposition political parties to stimulate democracy. Raila on Friday told a London political summit that the tendency to shower incumbent governments with foreign aid and ignoring the opposition has encouraged the governing parties to engage in corruption, dictatorship and lack of accountability. Patrick Amimo with that report.
Deputy President William Ruto was at Buhalarire High School in Busia County for a fundraiser. But CORD leader Raila Odinga's push for foreign funding of opposition political parties has not gone down well with Ruto. On Friday, Raila told a London political summit that the West's undivided support for the ruling parties in the name of fighting terrorism and containing China's influence would boomerang on them. Raila said the international community's one-sided support for ruling parties feeds the notion that opposition to the government of the day is unpatriotic and amounts to sabotaging the national agenda. The opposition chief warned of return of dictatorships if the West continues to fund the ruling parties and ignore the opposition. Raila said the West must show unequivocal support for free and fair elections. Ruto says it was unfortunate that opposition leaders led by Raila Odinga were soliciting for financial support from outsiders ahead of the 2017 general election.
Sasa nimesikia hawa ndugu zetu wameenda huko ati wameenda kutafuta ati wazungu kuja kulipa pesa ati ndio wananchi wafanye ati kuamua. Kwani mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Busia, hamuwezi kujiamulia viongozi mpaka wageni na wazungu walete pesa hapa ndio muweze kujiamulia viongozi wenu ni kina nani? 2013 walituletea ukarabati hapo ya Makesi. Eti ndio wazungu waamue nani ataongoza Kenya. Wananchi wa Kenya walikataa hiyo plan. 2017 vile vile Wakenya wataamua ni kina nani viongozi, sio wazungu.
CORD leader Raila Odinga enjoys massive support in Busia County. The ruling Jubilee is keen to have a share of the rich voting bloc.
Nikisema Jubilee mnasema hulialala. Jubilee hulialala hiyo.
But Ruto's attempt to poach some opposition MPs in attendance failed.
Ni mzuri mtu anaweza kuchagua ile coalition ya siasa anataka, lakini we can also have another coalition ya maendeleo above coalitions za siasa.
We are very very happy and this collabo ambayo umeanzisha na sisi, especially with me, your former schoolmates and classmates. I am very proud of you. Lakini watu huwa wananiambia bwana, pengine ukienda Jubilee sana utaniangusha kura. Wanasema tu nibaki kwa code, nibaki kwa code.
Mimi nauliza nyinyi watu wa Busia, mnataka kuendelea kukaa kwa upinzani? Unajua mtu unajikuta kwa upinzani kwa bahati mbaya. Ulikuwa unajaribu kwenda serikali lakini ikateleza ukaenda upinzani. Lakini mtu huwezi kujipanga asubuhi na mapema ati mimi nataka kwenda kupiga kura ya kwenda upinzani. Hala?
2013 wakati tulianza Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais na URP, mambo ilikuwa ngumu. Lakini kwa sasa mambo sio ngumu. Kama 2013 tuliweza na tukachaguliwa katika URP, na sasa
the leaders urged Kenyans to forge national unity by embracing politics of development. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
The announcement made by President Kenyatta to release more than 7,000 inmates from various prisons across the country continues to spread a wave of excitement among inmates who walked to freedom hours after the presidential directive. Timothy Otieno highlights the joy and celebrations that characterized the release.
2 days after the president exercised his powers of mercy, and the jig for freedom is still going on. The euphoria not about to die down anytime soon, as more and more inmates make that emotionally overwhelming walk to freedom, 7,000 of them. Robert Malakwen. Yes, Amanda. Toka. Robert Malakwen, who has been a friend of the state since 2008, was one among the 200 prisoners who left the Nakuru government prison Saturday morning. He had been jailed for murder, serving an 8-year prison sentence.
Tukafurahi sana. Mpaka saizi tunaambia Mheshimiwa Rais pongezi. Ile jambo ni la busara sana kukumbuka watu wameshatupa mali wakasaulika.
His fate shared by 169 inmates at the Meru government prison.
We've been able to release 88 inmates from main prison, 81 inmates from women prison, a total of 169 inmates from Meru command.
The once petty offenders held here could not hide their joy, singing songs and celebrating freely with prison guards who were their captors just less than 48 hours ago.
Sasa tunashukuru huyo rais wetu kwa kutuachilia. Alafu tunasema hata Mungu amuongezea masiku. Ninafurahi sana.
Nilikuwa nimesikiwa pombe kutoka upande wa Kanyakine Keringa, na sasa nimeokoka, naenda kuimbia Mungu, naenda kufurahia Mungu, naenda usangilia Mungu nikiwa mama Kaki. Nimeshukuru na hata ninyi, Mungu abariki sana.
The same could be said for freed inmates from Nyeri's Kingongo prison, where 100 people were released.
Nimekuwa prison for 1 year. Nilifungwa last year December tarehe 17th, lakini saa hii nimefunguliwa, niko free. Nilishikwa na tulikuwa tumepigana na kazi ya bwana yangu, nikafungwa miezi 6. Sasa nimeenda 3. Nitaambia Uhuru nimeshukuru na serikali imenisaidia kwa ajili, kama ningekuwa wangenichukua ningekufa madam.
The over 7,000 inmates are hoping that the skills they learned while in prison, coupled with the institution's rehabilitation agenda, will make life in the outside for them more meaningful, even as they seek to walk away from a past that threatened to deny them the freedom they now embrace in totality. Timothy Otieno, KTN.
Well, in other news, over 30 people have been shot dead, while others are nursing gunshot wounds at Kerio Valley due to insecurity that has continued to rock 2 neighboring communities in that region. Women and children are now living in caves. More than 4 schools have been temporarily closed, with over 10,000 livestock reportedly stolen by the raiders. Elvis Koskei has just returned from Kerio Valley and now reports. We apologize for that audio hitch. We'll be playing that story later on in the bulletin. Elsewhere, it is with no doubt the joy of every woman to have children of her own womb. But for one Mama Faith Imani, she took a deliberate decision not to give birth and instead take care of the thousands of abandoned children. And as Lofty Matambo narrates, many who know her call her a heroine, especially at this season where many Kenyans are trying to figure out who a true hero is. Take a look.
Believe it or not, this beautiful, attractive flat is in Kayole's Soweto slums. The welcome here is one of its kind.
You have to protect maximum protection. Yes.
Disinfection given the first priority. Something valuable must be protected.
From day 1 to 2 months.
Mama Imani is referring to these beautiful angels brought to her from either hospitals or from the streets after being abandoned by their mothers from day 1 of their lives.
I don't really want to question myself, why are they there? I know I'm there to take care for them and love them.
For about 26 years, Mama Imani has been doing this, but you may wonder why she has decided not to bear children of her own womb. She's now 50 years old.
I made a little choice when I turned 24, 25, that I don't want to make a baby when I have all these beautiful babies. I don't think I can make a better baby than this. So if I can make somebody, if God would tell me to bring Jesus, I could say yes. But if a normal baby like this, I'm satisfied and I'm very happy.
About 400 children find love and care here, with 7 branches across the country.
High start.
Such fondness keeps Mama Imani away from the love of men, she affirms.
Oh my God, I have no time for men. I'm so busy. If somebody give me a date, I forget.
Tabitha is 24 now. She was picked from the streets of Mlango Kubwa, Nairobi in the year 1992.
So this was your bed?
This bed that she started using at the age of 1.5 reminds her of many things.
My parent alikuwa mama wa mtaa, so katika harakati za kufukuzwa na Kanjo and the rest, I'm told, and ndio aliniacha mtaani.
Take a look at this beautiful, tender face of Grace Imani. Grace got burned when her mother abandoned her at a dumping site in Kayole at the age of 1. She's now 7 and has decided to start a clean-up exercise every Saturday dubbed Mtaa Safi.
Sitaki mtoto mwingine achomeke kama mimi penye nimechomeka.
Mama Imani tells me that once these lovely souls reach the age of 6 months, their parents are free to pick them up. However, since the establishment of this center, no mother has come out for their children. Just like Tabitha, who has completed her business administration degree and moved on with her life.
Ndio wangenitafuta wakati ule, so sijawatafuta tena. Niko comfortable, I have a family.
In case there are modern heroes and heroines to be listed, perhaps you might be tempted to mention Mama Imani.
I'm not at all. I'm just a mother and a servant of God.
Ni shujaa kabisa yule. Ni shujaa sana.
Clearly, everyone has an opportunity to bring beauty and smiles to many in their generations, and by that, getting into the books of heroes. Lofty Matambo, KTN News, in Kayole, Nairobi.
Now, the Rabbi people of the coastal Mijikenda last night celebrated the end of the year's festivities, some 2 months behind the conventional calendar. Last night's rich cultural event allowed the group to socialize and showcase their cultural heritage. There is growing concern, however, among members of the group that the new generation is slowly discarding the traditions. KTN's coast reporter Francis Ontomo mingled with the Rabbi and now reports.
The moves were tailor-made to match the sound of the beat. Young and old, men and women, all found special gratification in showing their best dancing skills. This was the end of the year celebrations for the Rabai people, a sub-tribe of the coastal Mijikenda. They call it Mwakamuya. In essence, the end of the year comes early for them, some 70 days to be precise earlier than what's conventionally known.
Ni mwezi wa 12 katikati 10 mwezi 6 ndio sisi huwa fungamana pamoja wa makaya tukatafuta siku ambayo hiyo siku hiyo iwe ya utakatifu wetu na iwe sikukuu ya watu wote.
This is a special rendition, Nzuga, sung only on this occasion. It has a special soloist, and when it goes, everyone must join in. In the olden days, tribesmen will compete in singing, and special gifts will be given.
Watu wanacheza wakina mama wamevaa mahando, wamejiweka ile mafuta ya mbono, wamejipaka. Ndio ile nyimbo inachezwa. Ile ndio ridge ya Mrabai.
The women have to be in their best. They decorate themselves with traditional attires, and the ornaments mean much more than just beauty.
Unavishwa ni vipuli vya harusi, lakini ukifika kule hata kama mmekosana akikutia kofi anadungwa na huu mwiba. Lakini wakati wa kulala wavua.
The ceremony never concludes without a display of Rabai's finest dishes. Maize and millet largely define their delicacies. On another side, the old men are playing chigogo. The battle is just getting intense. Even as the elders take time to parlay their rich cultural heritage, they are a worried lot. The new generation is quickly abandoning the practice.
Hii ni siku yangu mara kwanza kuja hapa. Nimekuja kuangalia mambo ya utamaduni.
Hawajua akikuona hivi asema wewe ni mganga ama ni mchawi.
The rich display of glamour attracts visitors from different parts of the country. And when the tempo heightens, you cannot help but join in the disco. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News, Rabai, Kilifi.
Many thanks for that piece of Francis Ontomwa there. Now, less than 20 Kenyans live and work in Togo, a tiny nation in West Africa that recently played host to a continental meeting on maritime security. Now, being a francophone country, language may be a barrier, but not to daring Kenyans who want to make a difference in the diaspora. Our special correspondent Alex Chamwada met some of them in the capital city Lome and filed the following report.
Learn more. Keep watching Daring Abroad.
Daring Abroad, proudly brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Yes, tiny it is, with the population of its capital city, Lome, only about 800,000 people, among them Kenyans who have traveled miles and miles away from home for greener pastures. I met these two Kenyans working at Radisson Blu Hotel as the city prepared to host the African Union Extraordinary Summit on Maritime Security from 14th to 16th October 2016. Radisson Blu Hotel is the only five-star hotel in Togo. The hotel accommodated the heads of state in attendance, including Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta, who the Kenyans working here had a chance to shake hands with.
I'm 37, yeah.
Paul Ngumu is the hotel's guest service manager.
I came here last year in October, starting of October, and I came from Dubai in the Middle East after working there for more than 6 years. So I applied when I saw it online, and then we went for the interviews, and then I was selected.
Before Dubai, Paul had worked in other countries.
Briefly in South Africa, Rwanda, and Qatar.
Paul and his colleagues are among the many Kenyan hoteliers doing well across West Africa.
The world is becoming like a village. So I believe when you have the urge and you have the courage, you can work wherever you want to work. We easily integrate to different cultures in the world. And on top of that, Kenyans are adventurous.
Stanley Kiragu, a restaurant manager at the hotel, also came here with a wealth of experience from other countries, including the dreaded Afghanistan.
Nilianzia in Dubai. Yeah, I started in Dubai for Radisson SARS. And I worked in Afghanistan for almost 3 years under the military. I lost some friends, actually. It was scary. It was scary. I felt like going back home. And I found myself ending here.
Which year?
I just came this year. And I'm 3 months old, actually.
Togo is a French-speaking country.
I'm working on the French. But the thing is that since you're in the hospitality industry, you know how to go step by step with the people in the hotel. We keep on understanding each other.
While conducting interviews with Kenyans at the hotel, Ken Soi, another Kenyan living in Togo, joins in. He is a medical doctor.
Prior to coming to Togo, I was in Sierra Leone during the Ebola outbreak.
Northern part.
Soi is among the Kenyans in Togo who have taken up the initiative to form a welfare association.
Right now we have 18 Kenyans that we know of that are here in Togo, living and working in Togo. Right now one of the challenges that we are facing as Kenyans living in Togo is that we don't have a Kenyan embassy that serves us here in Togo. We have to access our consular services all the way in Abuja.
Meanwhile, Lome is where the headquarters of EcoBank is located, and here we meet yet another Kenyan, Susan Gisheru, who works in the financial and regulatory department. She has been here for 5 years.
I was working at EcoBank Kenya from 2008. 2012, I was relocated from EcoBank Kenya to work at group office in Togo.
Her colleagues are from different cultural backgrounds.
Before I was fearing, but when I came here,
finance team we work like a family. You feel like it's another family.
She says she's proud to be part of the family of over 19,000 employees of the bank across Africa.
Sustained from Benin.
From Benin, sustained. Like other Kenyans here, she has learned how to deal with the language barrier.
I know little French for greetings, bonsoir, bonjour, atutaro, see you tomorrow, merci, thank you.
I know Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna
That one.
For Daring Abroad on KTN News, I'm Alex Chamada reporting from Lome, Togo. Learn more. Keep watching Daring Abroad.
Daring Abroad, proudly brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
For quick and easy banking on your mobile, like checking your balance or transferring money, use our mobile banking services today. To find out more, visit us online at ecobank.com. Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Right, you're watching the Weekend Express. Let's take a short break now. Don't go too far. We'll be back shortly.
This is KTN News.
The peace also should address the issues of tribalism, because our country has been a tribal country all this time. We need many reforms. The issues of civil service reform, security reforms, these are the areas actually we wanted to be addressed by the peace agreement. For us to go back to a united country is actually anything that brought the conflict to be resolved. The issue of lands. We don't want an issue of lands again to happen between tribes in Southern Sudan. So we want to say that peace does not mean only to solve, as what we have seen in the IGAD process. The IGAD compromises are only solve only one area, which is the power sharing between the SPLM three factions. This is the SPLM in government, the SPLM in IO, and then the SPLM political detainees. Completely that one is not. We wanted the peace to address actually what brought us conflict.
Female genital mutilation FGM is against the law in Kenya.
Wasichana wakisha keketwa sasa ni kuozwa.
But it continues to happen, especially in rural areas within pastoral communities that are hard to reach.
They are doing it for their own cultural reasons.
Mama iweze kumwambia mzee mtoto haitatailiwa.
7 out of 10 women and girls are living with the consequences of the cut.
Hata watoto wakiwa 8 years, miaka 8.
Tumeona masara mengi.
We take you to the front line of the war against FGM in West Pokot and tell you the stories of the victims, the survivors, and the men and women fighting back to save their girls.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back. Glad you're watching the Weekend Express. Now, barely a week after President of the Republic of Kenya expressed disappointment with government organs and matters corruption, an innovator has come out bold with an innovation that he thinks could be the solution to fighting graft. With his innovation named Dichotomous Universal Growth Wave, Jacob Kioko is confident that the solutions he has to offer will not only eliminate corruption but benefit the country. Stanley Bichu tells us more.
Kama umeitwa umefanya corruption, umekuwa mwizi.
There is no need to have any mercy on a fellow who is trying to swindle us.
We will hold our anti-corruption bodies accountable now going forward, and that there is no sacred cow in this government, none, including myself.
Kila shilingi 10 za mapato ya taifa, 3 zaishia kwa ufisadi.
There is a general consensus that corruption has seeped through into practically every sector of the Kenyan society. Over 25 major corruption and graft scandals reported within government since 1990 to present. The longest running being that of the Goldenberg scandal and the most recent being that of the NYS. Between 1990 and 2012, concerted efforts were put together to fight the vice. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC was established after Kenya's former president Mwai Kibaki signed the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Act on the 29th of August 2011 to replace the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission. Firm stand in the fight against these vices led to the formation of committees whose mandate is to probe emerging corruption cases. However, Kenyans are not convinced much is being done.
It is so deplorable that we are in the 21st century and there is too much corruption in the government. Even in the back years, in the years back, we saw Goldenberg, saw Anglo-Leasing. These people have not been brought to book.
Hii ufisadi ni kama wanasalisa. Hata wakijua fulani ni ndio wanafanya mambo hii baya, hakuna kitu wanafanya.
Inchi economy imeisha. Ukipata sasa 1000 uende kwa supermarket ni kama 100. Hiyo sasa economy iko wapi? Mtu unapata mshahara 28 kwa mwezi, tarehe 28. Tarehe 2 umeanza kukopa. Hiyo ni economy.
Kulingana na utafiti wangu, kiitwacho corruption ni hali ya kiuchumi ambayo uchumi wa nchi uko mikononi mwa wachache tu kwa society.
Jacob Kioko, the owner of an innovation named Dichotomous Universal Growth Wave, has come out saying he has the capacity to solve complex human puzzles of corruption and graft.
Dugwi is a marketing innovation ambayo imezaliwa kutokana na ushirikiano wa biashara na raia, ya kwamba chochote kile mtu anunuacho dukani atapewa kishawishi tukiitacho bashishi bakishiwa. Shabaha ikiwa ni kukuweka motisha wewe mteja wa kampuni uendelee na kununua bidhaa za hiyo kampuni kwa wingi, ndiposa uifaidishe.
With a foregoing assertion as the bottom line, corruption is here accurately identified as an economic problem calling for an economic solution. However, due to the fact that corruption perpetrators must be dealt with through legal processes, Kioko says the war on graft and corruption can be won through combined efforts of 3 professions.
Huu muradi utachukuliwa na serikali. Ufanisi utakaopatikana hauna kifani. KRA kwa wakati huu hawawezi kupata ushuru kutoka kwa kila Mkenya kwa vile percentage kubwa ya Wakenya hawana mapato. They are in abject poverty. Huu muradi utampa kila Mkenya nafasi ya kuwa na mapato. Hivyo basi serikali itapata mapato mengi kutoka kwa kila Mkenya kwa vile atakuwa na nguvu sasa ya kuweza kulipa kodi.
According to his proposal, This accumulative amount will be invested in job-creating national business corporation in which every Kenyan becomes a shareholder by virtue of being a beneficiary of the retainer incentives, and where everybody in society will benefit from quality jobs and other derivatives. In an effort to share this idea to the government, Kioko on the 18th of March 2014 wrote to the office of the Deputy President requesting an audience to share what he believes is the solution to Kenya's problems on graft and corruption. The office of the Deputy President, through the Private Secretary Ruben Maiyo on the 9th of April 2014, wrote to Mr. Kioko in part, and I quote, "We refer to your earlier request for a meeting with His Excellency Deputy President. We regret to inform you that due to his busy schedule, we will not be in a position to meet you immediately." End of quote. On the 10th of April 2014, Mr. Kioko desperately wrote 2 more letters to the State Law Office addressed to the Honorable Attorney General Githu Muigai and another to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Justin Muturi, in one letter requesting to meet the AG and in the other to address the National Assembly, Parliament. The subject of the letter stated, "Saving the nation through innovation." Chapter 4, Section 40, Clause number 5 of the Kenyan Constitution requires that the state supports and protects the intellectual property rights of the people of Kenya. In interest to fighting graft and corruption here in Kenya, the general public is most disappointed by government's effort in the fight against these vices. Will the Dugu innovation by Jacob Kioko then have a solution to fighting these iniquities that continue to perplex humanity and create a social-economic imbalance in society? Stanley Mbichu, KTN News, Nairobi.
Interesting innovation. Then to sports news, Cameroon secured a 1-0 win over Harambee Starlets in a friendly match played at the Kasarani Stadium. Christine Manier converted a second-half penalty to earn the visitors a win. Starlets were using the match in their build-up to taking part in this year's edition of the Africa Women's Cup of Nations. Lucy Cheriot and Hosea Mwok are the winners of the 11th edition of the Safaricom Madoka Half Marathon that took place in Taita Taveta County with over 2,000 athletes participating. Cheriot won the female category of the 21-kilometer race in a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes and 24 seconds, followed by Edith Chelimo, while Pauline Wangui finished third. In the men's race, Hosea Mwok crossed the finish line in a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 14 seconds. Nicodemus Kipkirui was second, while Simon Kiluthi was third. Winners of the 21-kilometer men's and women's races received a cash prize of 500,000 shillings each, with the second and third position taking home 250,000 and 100,000 shillings each. The Safaricom Madoka Half Marathon is his 7th long-distance race in the 2016 Safaricom Athletics Series calendar.
I'm very happy kwa sababu nimeimprove sana from second position to the first position, na route yenyewe sio rahisi.
And maybe within the next year or so, we could have a world champion from this region.
Obadia Ndege netted a brace as Mathare United secured a 3-1 win over Bandari in a Kenya Premier League match played at the Nyayo Stadium. The win propelled Mathare United to second on the log with 42 points. In another encounter, Sony Sugar held the Kakamega Homeboys to a barren draw in a match played at the Mumias Complex.
And with that kick, it's Bandari 1 and Mathare United 0. A penalty converted in excellent fashion by Anthony Kimani. No clean sheet for Mathare United today, but Anthony Kimani gets a wide opportunity to get the cross into the box. An opportunity! Nice equalizer. Well played. Made in total Mathare fashion. Beaten Obungu can only... Just floats it into the box. Oh, and a beautiful goal. Beautiful goal. Obadia Ndege, goal number 6 finally rediscovering his goal-scoring touch in the second leg of the season. His first touch.
In, and what is Sharif Mohammed think put this game to bed?
Third goal for Mathare United in this game. Obungu beaten by now joint scorer of Mathare in Obadiah Ndege. Ndege with his second.
Nancy Akinyi from Team Technology and Samuel Mwangi emerged winners of the third day of the Tour de Machakos, which saw cyclists cover 150 kilometers from Machakos to Massi. Nancy Akinyi clocked 3 hours, 56 minutes and 30 seconds, beating a well-known rider Grace Nyaruri, who made it to be position 2 in 3 hours, 58 minutes and 15 seconds. Akinyi hopes to win the final day of the event when she takes to the road on Sunday. Samuel Mwangi won in the men's elite category by clocking 3 hours, 7 minutes and 56 seconds, followed closely by Suleiman Kangangi with 3 hours, 8 minutes and 16 seconds. Tanzanian cyclist Richard Laser from Arusha's racing team clocked 3 hours, 11 minutes and 18 seconds.
The secret to my success is good training, and I prepared well for the race. This year I had, last year I ran out of gears. This time I did my homework, and so far I'm liking it.
Yani hatutaki sisi kama Kenyan riders wanaenda, hatutaki mtu aende mbele kama hatuyuko. So we have to make the race tough for others to follow.
Ahmed Musa scored his first goal of the season as English Premier League champions. Leicester City registered a 3-1 victory over Crystal Palace at the King Power Stadium. In other matches, Arsenal were held to a goalless draw by Middlesbrough, while Stoke City defeated Hull City 2-0.
Okazaki, back for Islam Slimani. Now Musa, Mahrez in space, went alone and scores to give Leicester the lead. And a tangible reward for their dominance in the last 15 minutes. Ahmed Musa's first goal for the club, and Leicester lead Palace 1-0. Musa. Advantage played after he was fouled by Ward. Drinkwater's ball in, just cut out. Okazaki, 2-0. Good advantage played by the referee. And an excellent goal from Shinji Okazaki to double Leicester's advantage. Benteke with a header away. Oh, what a screaming goal from Christian Fuchs, who celebrates his new 3-year contract with his first goal for the club. Last one he scored was at the Bernabeu. Goal, although have come close, had one cleared off the line, 3 excellent Schmeichel saves, and they hit the bar at 0-0. Zaha's ball in, they have scored now. Jan Kabay making the run on the Wilfried Zaha's cross, surely too little too late.
Allen and then Shawcross, who succeeded in directing it back to Xherdan Shaqiri. He thinks he fancies it here, he does! Oh, why not? When you can do that, of course he fancies it.
And that's the latest in sports. You're watching the Weekend Express. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we speak to a very young, rather young life coach, Titus Ngatia, who will be joining us in just a moment.
This is KTN News.
From the county of Nyeri, I am Carol Nderi, and this is KTN News.
I accept leadership of a national party.
Days for just one single party are gone.
Join us as we go beyond the political headlines and press briefings and delve deeper into the real issues of the 2017 general election. From the depths of the vote-rich Rift Valley and Central regions,
Ile tuko na Rift Valley ni demokrasia. I'm giving him a political warning.
and the so-called swing counties, the Nyanza and Western,
Mimi sina tamaa ya fisi.
Sitakuwa jenerali mwenye bunduki isiyo na risasi.
to the high-stakes coastal strip in eastern Kenya,
Tutoke katika hii njia ya ufukara.
Kana mwazia ataende.
we analyze the numbers, the trends, and the political rhetoric.
Lazima mwenye fimbo ya Musa awe mmoja.
The gubernatorial races across the 47 counties and the governors facing big battles to retain their seats.
Definitely, we are going to City Hall.
Na sasa kama Nairobi imebarikiwa hivyo.
Join us as we cover the issues surrounding the 2017 general election in the way only we can.
Mine is unmatched content on issues that matter to you in unmatched style. Now in London, that yellow box means a lot. Behavior and congestion in the city, out of the ordinary. Morning, habari. Namna gani? Tuelekea town sasa. Exclusive. Je m'appelle Alex.
Je m'appelle Kofi.
Je suis journaliste, mais je parle un peu de français seulement. To the point.
Let us look at the personality of the person, not the tribe, because that is what is in our country.
Told through first-hand experience. I'm called Alex Chamada. And you? Yes. There he goes in his car. He's just stopped to say hi to me. From every corner of the world. Hello, I'm Alex Chamada in Paris. President Uhuru Kenyatta visited some of the greenhouses here in Israel. And that's changing the guard right from here at the Buckingham Palace, told through state-of-the-art presentation. I visited Norway recently, where they are advanced in recycling.
This biogas is used on our buses in this region.
With you in mind. Join me for the Chamada Report every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. only on KTN News.
Mandhari ya wiki ni ukumbi wa kujieleza katika lugha ya Kiswahili.
Lugha bila mawasiliano imeishashindwa kutekeleza wajibu wake.
Tusisitize mazungumzo ya Kiswahili ndo wananchi waweze kupata nafuu na manufaa.
Siasa na utangamano.
Wamechafua siasa yetu. Siasa imekuwa hata ni kama inanuka sasa.
Tumetumia wakati wetu mwingi kujaribu kuambia Wakenya waache kupigana.
Masuala tata katika jamii.
Uandike bora unaridhia kwamba unachoandika wakati huu kinaaminika.
Ni jukumu la raia kuweza kuchukua hatua.
Hatubagui wala kuchagua jinsia.
Ni ile uonevu, ni ile kunyanyazwa kwa sababu wewe ni kike.
Ungana nami Paul Nabiswa kila Jumapili kuanzia saa 11 hadi saa 12 saa za Afrika Mashariki.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back to the Weekend Express. Now, the spirit of Mashujaa Day isn't quite over here on the Weekend Express, but today we'd like to honor a different kind of hero. We'd like to honor the young men and women who not only defy odds to be successful in entrepreneurship, but those who change the lives of others for the better while succeeding in entrepreneurship. And one such person is with us here in studio, life coach Titus Ngatia, the CEO of Effortless Insight Limited, a pastoral-based development company. Titus, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right, so we are honoring you this morning as a hero because we don't hear much of youth who are going out of their way to touch the lives of others. Many would just focus on, I want 10 million shillings in my account by the end of next month. So it's more money driven. Talk to us about what Effortless Insight Limited does.
Well, Effortless Insight Limited is a personal development based company. So that means we offer training, and coaching around personal development. And life coaching is an industry that is quite growing in Kenya.
Right.
You know, more and more people are realizing the need for a life and business strategist. You know, because sometimes on our own we have a lot of paradigm hang-ups or blind spots. Things, you know, we can't really get over in our minds. So it's really important to have a life coach and a strategist. I have a life coach.
Oh, you have a life coach?
Yes, I do.
All right,
And it's important because a coach is not better than you. A coach doesn't have what you don't have. A coach simply sees what you don't see. I often like to use the example of football because I think games are a reflection of life, according to me.
Right.
So many principles are reflected in games. So when I look at a coach, I don't know who is your favorite coach.
What, in games?
Yeah, football.
I am probably the most inactive person.
Well, okay.
Wait, the rugby coach, who's the rugby Kenya Sevens coach? I think he's a pretty cool guy.
Benjamin?
Yes.
Yeah, Benjamin Ayimba. Yeah, so if you think of Benjamin Ayimba, for example, I don't think in a sport or in a game, the coach is the best footballer or the best rugby player. I think it's just the coach has an experience and has a training and has a vast vantage point. So he's able to see and perceive so many things as you guys are in the field playing, and that he can be able to guide you and actually show you where you're actually missing it and where you could tap into higher energies in your potential. And so essentially, I usually ask people in my training sometimes, who's the best footballer in the world? And some of them will say Messi. And I ask them, how come then Messi is not a coach?
Right.
That's the logic, right? The best footballer should be then the coach to the others because of the skill.
The coach isn't necessarily better than you in
Not
life.
necessarily. The coach is just really trained on insight.
But you brought up something very interesting, that the coach is somebody who's probably just, you know, very exposed and has a vast, you know, probably array of experience, but you are rather young. You know, so say somebody, I don't know if you've worked with people older than you, but how do you go about that? Because you know, people would say I'm older than you, I have more experience than you. So how is it that you become my life coach when I'm older than you?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and it comes up a lot during my trainings, because I have people who are twice or even thrice my age sometimes in my trainings, and the question comes, you're so young, and I mean, why should I listen to you? And for me, the answer is usually an interesting response that I may have been born yesterday, but I stayed up all night.
You did.
So
right, and
yeah.
You stayed up all night. So how old are you now?
I'm 28.
You're 28 years old.
Yes, just turned 28 last month.
Wow. And how long have you been doing this life coaching?
Well, I like to say chronologically for the last 4 years.
4 years or so. So you started when you were 24.
Absolutely, around. But I discovered this. It was actually a discovering of my passion and my calling and my very strong desire to support people in terms of mindset and especially paradigm. I was always really fascinated about paradigm. So when I discovered that my greatest joy and fulfillment comes from actually assisting others to achieve their goals, I started to invest in now personal development, and I was around. Actually, it was around 23 at the time, and when I found the field of personal development, very influenced by American speakers and teachers, there was no turning back. So I usually say chronologically because inherently I always loved it. I always loved to help another person to achieve their potential. And I think what happens with our innate gifts is that it's somewhere there. And I believe really my contention is that everyone has already had some insight or some inklings toward that which is their highest self or their highest gift. But sometimes in the course of going through school and being formalized and in these systems, in the school system, in society and all that, people get to lose that fire a little bit. And it just requires a coach sometimes to actually dig deep with further questions and things like that and training for you to actually realize you always knew what you love. When I discovered my passion, I discovered that I was always like this. I always loved to help, even when I had nothing to help. I just always wanted to encourage someone, to motivate someone. And then later on I had to move beyond the stage of motivation, because motivation alone without strategy, motivation alone without a sense of understanding of principles, will just have you in high energy, but not with the right understanding of how to appropriate that energy into results. Yeah.
And so you got into being a strategist now, so you're a life strategist as well.
Yes, generally a life coach is and we can define that, and maybe probably the what I was sharing earlier around the coach, the football coach. It's simply that's what a life coach does, and what the life coach does may be important.